Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining me. We're going to take a look at this manga of H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories, adaptation and artwork by Gu Tanabe. So I just finished reading this, and I really wanted to do a video while it's still fresh in my mind. It's so good. It's such a smooth read that, and there's let's just start at the beginning. All right, so I found this recently. Let's take a look at the cover. It's beautiful work. This is adapted from the Lovecraft text into a comic format, a Japanese comic format, and it's drawn and adapted by Gu Tanabe. The art is great. The feel of the book is higher quality. So it feels, this is sort of a smooth, brushed feel to it. I don't know if it picks up on camera. It's a heavy book, even though it's a thin book. And it looks and feels like a text, like something that is required reading that you need to purchase from the Miskatonic University campus bookshop. It does feel like a college book a bit. So let's turn it over and look at the back. This is a Dark Horse manga, which I'm happy to see that they have begun an imprint. They probably started this 10 years ago or something. I just didn't know about it. You can read that if you like. I'm not going to read it because there's just too much to say in here. This is just it's a bit of a synopsis of the 3 stories that are included within this book. So let's start at the beginning. I started reading, or I discovered H.P. Lovecraft's books in high school. I had 3 paperback copies of different ones. And then they're gone now because I had this ex-wife that went through like a satanic panic. And she actually threw away my H.P. Lovecraft books. She also threw away this little black paperback version of the Necronomicon that I had, which is in here, as well as a mention of the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazrad. So it feels like a prestige format. It's inexpensive, though. You can find it on places for like $12. So look at this: H.P. Lovecraft and Other Stories, adaptation and artwork. So I read those books 40 years ago. Haven't reread anything. I've watched movies. I've watched television programs of adaptations of Lovecraft stories. I've read comics. The first one that I just thought of was, I have a comic version of The Lurking Fear that I think it was okay. Oh, you know what? Let's start back here. So this is a Japanese comic. So at the back, this isn't always included. This is here maybe because this is a Dark Horse manga. It's, chiefly being marketed to a Western audience. But if you open this up to read this in a Western style, it will instruct you and teach you how to do it the right way. Okay? So, but once you've been reading these enough, you get used to it. And even if you have never read in this order before, in a non-Western fashion, you'll get used to it fairly quickly. So I read that Lurking Fear. I remember seeing a episode of, I think it was the Hammer House of Horror. I think it's called The Witch's Room, maybe, about a guy that rents in a boarding house and has that corner room, and with like the rat, the little talking rat. I really enjoyed that, but I haven't reread anything, and so I read this. Started yesterday. I read The Temple, and today I read The Hound and the Nameless City, and boy, they were good. I want to reread them. So let's talk about this. It is so, I say this, I use this word all the time talking about manga. It is very cinematic. Everything flows. It flows like you're watching a movie. The art has a very traditional, I'll say Western illustrative feel to it. It's very detailed. It looks like it's European almost. and it is enthralling. This is the temple. I really enjoyed this story about this German submarine, this German subcrew that meets a sort of supernatural fate, and they lose all power and all control, and they take aboard this corpse, and in this corpse pocket is this artifact. They all are driven mad. Or are they? Look how beautiful this is. I think it's great. I flew through this yesterday, and I was enthralled. It was after I had read something else, and I had finished something. It might have been a Blue Exorcist. I finished something. It wasn't Blue Exorcist. It was something else I can't see right now. Anyway, I finished something else, and so I wanted to jump into this, and so, boy, it's so good. All right, so let's move ahead. So the next story in here is the Hound. I think maybe it comes after, because there's like these dramatic pauses in here. Look, he's in utter darkness in that submarine. Look at that. This is the temple that he finds at the bottom of the abyss. That the submarine just drifts. Okay, still not there. Look how good this is. All right, so I don't want to give. Yeah, anyway, look how beautiful this is. So there's a lot of. So we'll get more to what I'm going to talk about when it comes to the detail and the style, this inking style, and the way the hand of Tanabe. So this is adapted from Lovecraft's The Hound, written, and see, he does this annotation. I really approve of this book. If you should grab these. I got this on Amazon for $11.99. You may be able to get this from your local comic shop, since it's from Dark Horse Manga. If you prefer to buy this from your local shop, you could ask the guy at your shop if he can order these for you, because we'll get to that at the end. He's made 6 volumes so far. This is the first one, from what I understand, that he did. So now we're into The Hound. The Hound is a great story about these 2 privileged Nepo kids that are bored with life and begin a deep interest in the occult and start robbing graves. They go to Holland and they rob a grave, and within that grave they find an artifact similar to the temple that we just read. This artifact, it curses them moving forward. It unleashes a monstrous beast that is either corporeal and realistic and true in form, or it's a delusion, a shared delusion. They both hear it, they both see it. It's great. Look how beautifully drawn this is. This is better than any movie or TV that I've seen that had H.P. Lovecraft's name on it. That's just my opinion. Maybe you don't think so. And this is just the first one I've read. This volume. So this is great. The Hound is really good. And then the last one is, gosh, so it's so hard for me to pick a favorite out of these 3 stories. I kind of feel like this is my favorite story in here, or favorite adaptation. I don't know about the original story because I haven't read it in 40 years, but this adaptation is so great. So this is an explorer, a supernatural sort of explorer type individual, kind of like an Indiana Jones type guy, but you don't really know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he's following the texts of the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazrad, and he's looking for the nameless city. And he finds it. And it's deep, deep, deep within the bowels of the earth. He loses all sense of time and direction and looks at his watch and realizes it's been 5 hours and his torch has gone out. And he's just traveling through the dark, drawn by a buried luminescence deep within the abyss. finds a tomb of all of these different sarcophaguses of an ancient race. On the ceiling, he finds this fresco, and this fresco wraps all around the room. It's detailed, but at the same time, it's not overly detailed. Some of it's left to your imagination, like look at that symbol in the ceiling. It looks biblical or Christ-like. But then, when we see a close-up of it, it's not at all biblical or Christ-like. And none of the figures in the fresco are human. They're all a different race, except for this one human that's being dismembered. He continues, and he continues. So this is really cool. At the end here, we have a message from Gutanabe from 2014 in the high summer. A sleepless night, a presence at the door, a whispering barely heard, an anxiety and fear such as you haven't felt since you were young, an intuition of primordial death. Lovecraft was a writer who crafted such unknowable darkness, a priest of his own mythos. I know fear even at the richness of his creativity. By illustrating his stories, I intend to become an apostle of the gods he made. I do not feel my work is yet complete. The images swell in my mind. If I draw it like this, if I do it this way, I hear the divine voice commanding me to continue. I am blessed that you are reading this. You have my gratitude. Okay, this guy is interesting, man. You learn about him back here, and it'll tell you a bit about him. I like this guy. So here's what he's done so far. All right, so we've got H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories. All of these books were available. I saw them all. They're all on Amazon if you want to, or you can go order them from your comic shop. That's better if you can find them at your comic shop. This is the next one I'm going to get, The Color Out of Space. And then I'm going to start the big ones. He's got Mountains of Madness Volume 1, Mountains of Madness Volume 2, then he's got The Call of Cthulhu, and then The Shadow of Innsmouth. They are all affordably priced. Coming attractions, advertisements like you see at the back of all manga. But this is kind of cool because there's look at that, there's a creepy and an eerie archives in here, which is interesting because when I was first describing this to a friend, I said it felt a bit like a Warren magazine mixed with the European artists from the early heavy metal magazine. I recommend this, you guys. If you're interested in H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound and Other Stories, you should get it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.